now. I think we've gathered enough people to start with the practical. So, of course, we're starting. What we should explain today would be starting with chronic glomerulonephritis. I think you need a little bit larger magnification of the slide to think of how it's generally looking like. So what you're seeing here is the pelvic fat tissue, vascular system here observed well, inflammatory infiltrate diffusely and parenchyma of the kidney, which goes in between the glomeruli pretty much everywhere. What we also observe is well-preserved system of glomeruli. You hear me well, I think, yes. And you still can observe the slide, which is great. What else? Here, there is a field which is infiltrated by lots of lymphocytes, which are particularly common for such type of process. Some small systems of ducts and tubules observed here and there. Protein casts deposited inside in the remnant tubules, which is normal for such type of damage inside in the glomeruli and inside in the kidney in general. Lots of proteins inside also, which is marked as strumization, as I mentioned in the practical. What we observe here is glomerular structures which are very evident for normal. What we observe here is particularly kept healthy glomerulus with just thicker Bowman capsule and a little bit enlarged Bowman space. But it's not everywhere like this. In chronic glomerulonephritis, usually we should observe that there are irreversible changes in the glomeruli. And that is what actually happened here. In lots of the glomeruli, we observe that here is a partial one, but there are damages here, which are hyalinization along with fibrosis of the glomeruli. And they are completely dysfunctional. If we take a look at a smaller magnification here, we can count that approximately at such field of a kidney, we can observe a couple of glomeruli which are kept healthy and others which are completely hyalinized. Approximately, this is at about 50–60% of the parenchyma, which is completely dysfunctional, which leads to the idea that this kidney might be starting to suffer renal failure. What else we should observe, which is very interesting, and I found it on particular fields exactly here. What are you observing at this field? What is the picture of this that you're observing here? What is that? Centrally on your screen, there is a glomerulus, and it's interesting with the position of structures. What do you think you're observing? If you focus specifically on this glomerulus. Crescent-shaped, very well marked. So perhaps this chronic glomerulonephritis started on the base of crescent acute glomerulonephritis. If you take a look at more glomeruli at distant fields from this, you might find that crescents are formed at multiple places here and there. So it's not only at this field to be formation of a crescent, which is mainly a fibrotic crescent. It's not actually the one with fibrin, which we expect to see in the crescent glomerulonephritis. We see here just final stages of fibrosis, multiple interstitial fields of inflammatory infiltrate in between the glomeruli, so rich that it might try to form follicles with germ centers. And also diffuse fibrosis. Take a look at this field here, which is very evident for that. Edema, along with fibrous tissue strands in between the glomeruli, and the tubules are less as an amount. So that is what we usually should observe at this type of chronic glomerulonephritis, which started at the base of acute glomerulonephritis, since we found lots of crescents here at the slide. If you take a look at more fields, you will find more crescents. So this field marked as stromization, this field marked as fibrosis, this field marked as inflammation, lots of hyalinized glomeruli, and reduction of tubules, other tubules with protein cast deposits inside, hyperemia, edema, and this circulatory changes also might be observed inside and glomeruli. Pretty much that is what you should describe about chronic glomerulonephritis, which might have started on the base of acute one, since we observed places, one more, with crescents here. Is that clear? I suggest we continue with the next one.